Hi everybody, my name is Nelly. I'm a student in Professor Rizk 2430 Data Structures Computer Science course. I'm going to be going over homework 0. And if you want, feel free to pause it. I'm going to try to just debrief this so I don't make like a 1 hour lengthy video, but I probably will, but we'll see. Okay, so reading the introduction, it says that, or let me just go ahead and read it. It says you will create a C++ program to calculate the percentage of a subset from the given matrix. The condition of the subset will be given in the input file, and the purpose of this homework is to get students familiar with the server and the argument manager. So reading this, we know that we're going to be receiving an input file that contains a condition, and it will have a matrix, which we will use to calculate the percentage of a subset. Okay, so the input file, we will have a number k that will be an integer and will represent the size of the matrix. So if k, for example, is 2, we're going to have a 2 by 2 matrix because it is a square matrix. And if k is 5, then we will be dealing with a 5 by 5 matrix. It also mentions that we will have a variable aij representing the numbers of the cell. And as for the condition portion, we will have these symbols that will represent a subset matrix of even, odd, equal, greater than, less than, and I think this is repeating itself, but okay. And then the output file shall be a real number rounded to the nearest hundredth. So it's just going to be a single number if you look at the examples. And looking at this, you're not really given that much information, but I'm going to read this next part and go back to these examples, so it'll be a little bit more clearer. Okay. So I'm out of breath. The rules and operations. By reading the input file, you should be able to create a grid with the red numbers. So each number corresponds to one cell, and essentially you're just given numbers from a matrix. And you're supposed to, given the condition, decide how many cells are oh my gosh, I cannot speak English, are basically worthy, like if they pass the condition. So if you see this, it says number of cells over total cells. So let's take this for example. Let's take the matrix here, and if the condition is odd numbers, then we would iterate and we'd say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and in total those are 5 numbers, so the subset would hold these 5 numbers. So then we divide the correct cells divided by the total, and it would be 0.56. And yeah, that's essentially it. If we look back at these examples, it would be that same concept. So this first number would represent our k. As we notice here, if we look at the matrix, it's 3 by 3. And the elements or the cells that it contains. And it's looking for, or the condition over here rather, would be the subset of numbers that are greater than 6, being 7, 8, and 9. So we would do 3 divided by the total, which is 9. 3 divided by 9 would be the output. Same thing for here. We're looking for even numbers, which would be this row, which is 8, divided by the total, which would be 4 squared. So 8 divided by 16 would be 0.50. And then here we have 6, so it would be 6 by 6 matrix. The condition being equal to 2. None of them are equal to 2, so output would be 0. Okay, so getting to the code, I already set it up a bit. I included some libraries, the IO S stream, the F stream, since we're working with files. And I muted these just because we're not going to use them yet, so we'll get to these later. I included the argument manager, so I'm able to pass files into the code. And then I have my inputs up here in my output file. Okay, so before we start, I kind of want to plan out what we want to do. So since we're working with files, we have to, we want to make sure files are open. And if they are, then we want to extract K, K being K by K matrix. I also want to mention this, yeah, this would be extractor. This would be inserter. I don't know if I spelled that right. Hold up. Insertion? Inserter. Isn't it inserter? I don't know. Say insertion. Okay. So we extract K and then we extract the matrix. And we would want to store this in an array just to make our lives easier. So I'm going to say initialize array, given that I already have the K by K matrix. And then we want to extract the condition from the file. And then we want to close our files. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Because we are going to run into a detour when we extract our conditions. I don't know if I should cover it now. Nah, let's just let's jump into it first. Okay. I'm trying to zoom in here for you guys. Alright. So we want to say if input file is not open, or my bad. It's not open, then output error opening input file. And then we want to close output file. Since it is open, we want to return 0. So it closes main. And before I forget, I'm going to just close my files here. Close, and then output file. I'm using C-line as my IDE, by the way. I've just always been accustomed to it. I know a lot of people use Repel, but I just started off here, so. Okay, so over here, try to comment more. Checking if file is open. And then we want to extract K, so I'm going to say int K. Then we want to extract and then we want to initialize our array. Oh, this might be kind of long. I'm going kind of slow. Okay. Int. I'm going to say array. I'm going to just be a little basic. And the size of, it was AIJ, right? Matrix for the numbers of cells. Yeah, so AIJ should represent the number of cells. So the number of cells would be K squared, so we could just do K times K. Oh, put a semicolon. Alright, cool, so we did that, or we have not extracted matrix yet. Okay, so for, then we're gonna do K times K for the number of elements, so we iterate that amount of times, and we want to extract. So input file into array at I. Okay. And I like to test now and then, so just make sure I'm not making any small errors, or just to check if my stuff is being stored correctly. So I'm gonna see out and I'm gonna add my arguments, or oh, they're already here. Okay, cool. So these are my arguments. I could do the whole G++ thing in my terminal, but I like C-line because you could just click this button and it compiles it for you, so it's kind of convenient. Oh, oops, it's J. Alright, so this is working fine. Let me see. Then we have to extract the condition next. So I'm gonna initialize that. So I'm gonna say string condition. And the reason why is because I can't say an integer, because when it extracts it, it's going to extract this whole line, and it's not just an integer, it's also a symbol, or it's just like a letter, or like an equal to. So this is how I approach that problem. I just turned it into a string, and I extracted it into there. Then I later am going to make a function to turn that string into an integer, so we'll be able to use it later. Alright, so extract our conditions, and then we have to check our condition. I didn't go over all of it. Oops. Okay, so we check our condition, and we do arithmetics. How do you spell it? Arithmetics? Oh my god, please don't make fun of me. Okay, I'm gonna just say calculate the subset given our condition. Okay, cool. Okay. So what was it? I didn't even read it. Okay. We want to check our condition. So I'm just gonna do a whole bunch of if statements. I'm gonna say, actually, let me copy this first. Okay, these two are easy because it's just even or odd, but these would carry a digit right after. So I'm gonna start off with that first. I'm gonna say if condition is equal to E, do something. I'm gonna actually do this. Because strings are essentially just arrays of char, so this would be able to work. It would take the that first index, and then I'm gonna say if condition is equal to O, then the same thing. I'm gonna make functions over here. So, okay. So before we get into that then, or actually let me finish this. I'm just copy and paste for convenience and change this. Oh my goodness, that was not efficient. Hold on. Okay, so if oh my goodness, why do I keep making this mistake? If condition 0. Okay, cool. So to solve this issue, I'm gonna have to make a function up here. It's gonna be int char to int. And it's gonna take in string parameter. And this is when I use ss_string. Okay, so ss_string is a stream of strings. So you initialize by saying string stream, and I'm gonna name it SSO. And I'm gonna I'm gonna insert the string into SSO. I'm gonna create an integer, name it value, and then I'm gonna insert SSO into value, and I'm gonna return value. And this is what I use to take that second digit when we run into these problems and turn them into integers. Alright, so I'm gonna go here and what was it? So if it's equal here, then I want to initialize condition 2, and I'm going to set it equal to condition at the first index, which would be the second part of the second element in the string, because it's at the first index. And I want to put that into the function of char to int. Oh, did I say string? This should have been char. That's my bad. I'm going to change this to character, so. Okay, so that should work now. Okay. So I'm setting this up just so we could take the digit into the functions that we're gonna make that that calculate the subset. So what you could do after doing this is make like a single function and put these all together, but just for the sake of like understanding, I'm gonna separate all of these into their own functions. So yeah, okay. So these copy, since these follow that same format, I'm gonna paste these into the functions that have a digit after the symbol. These are fine because they just represent even and odd, but these have a number tied next to them. So we're almost done. I'll close that. Okay. So I'm gonna make a function that returns a double, and I'm gonna name it even. Or actually, let's start with input 1. I'm gonna name it greater than, just because my argument's already there. Okay. So for parameters, we're gonna want to pass our array. We'll just name it A. We're gonna want to pass another integer named elements that passes the amount of elements in the array, and we're gonna want to pass another int, which would be condition. Okay. So we're gonna want to set a counter, and we're gonna name it correct cells, and we're gonna set that equal to 0. Then we're gonna want to make a for loop that iterates through the matrix elements amount of times, and we're gonna want to say if array at index I is greater than condition, then increment correct cells, right? And then at the end, we're going to want to return correct cells divided by elements. Oh, actually, I'm going to turn this into double, just because our output should be 2 decimal points. So if we divide a double by an integer, it would instantiate this into a decimal. Because if we divide an integer by an integer, it's going to give us a whole number. But by dividing by a double, it would implicitly converge this to a double. Okay. And I'm just gonna print this out to make sure it works. Oh my god, I probably should have tested this out first. I'm just getting ahead of myself. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, just add brackets to these because it's gonna be a little bigger. Okay. We should probably test if this works. Or actually, let's just run it. Let's see if it works. So I'm gonna call my function, I'm gonna see how I'm gonna call my function greater than with my parameters of array, aij, and condition 2, which holds the digit from the string condition. Alright, and since we're just running input 1, it should print out a number. It should. And look, wow, look at that. Great. Okay. So that means this works. I probably should have checked it though. It's really bad for me to keep on coding and not check, but that works. And this works as well. So our next thing to do would be to use this library, which lets us round our answer to the nearest 2 decimal points by just doing this. We say fixed, and then we say set precision to 2 decimal points. So if we run this, it should print out 0.33. Yay, okay. So now we basically take this same concept and do the same thing for all the other functions. If you think about it, you honestly could make a function for all 5 of these, but again, I'm just doing it for the sake of making my brain understand this easy, and hopefully for you guys is too. Okay, so next I'm gonna just work on even, since it's a little different. So I'm gonna have to take the array and the elements, but I don't have to take a condition like we did in greater than, because we already have a condition. They just have to be even, which we don't need to have a number for. So we're going to take the same concept. We're going to have a counter. I'm going to name it correct cells, initialize to 0, make a for loop that goes through the matrix elements, and make if statement. Then we'll say if in the integer in the array modulus 2 is equal to 0, then again increment cells. So if you're not familiar with this, basically if a number is even, when you do modulus 2, it should return 0, and that's how we know that it passes the condition. And then again, we just return correct cells, divide that by elements in the array. Oh, I made the same mistake. It should be a double. And Let's check if that works. See, for E and O, we don't have to go through this whole process. Okay. Oops. Oh, I was like, why isn't this? Why is it red? It should be even. And why am I getting warning? Oh. I'm just ignore it. Okay. So E is used, I think it's in the second input, yeah. So I'm gonna change my argument to take in input 2. Let me run it and I should get 0.50, I believe. 0.50. And yeah, cool. So we're done with even. Let's make one for odd. It's, well, actually, I could just copy this. Oh. Okay. I'm just change a few stuff. I'm gonna name this odd. And I'm gonna just say if it's not equal to 0, because if it's not, then it should return not 0. Okay. So again, let's go down here. It's like odd. And let me change this to O so it catches it. And it should print out 0.50. And yeah, that worked. And we just gotta make one for less than and equal to. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do the same thing I did. I'm just copy this and reuse it. Cool. So I'm gonna say less than, just change, literally all I have to do is change the condition. Then it should work fine. That's why I was saying, like, if you wanted to, you could make this into one function, but just for the sake of understanding, since equal to, I change the condition to equal to, and then I'm gonna just copy this and change the function name. Equal to, again for here, should be less than. So let's test out input 3. Okay, then let's run it. We should give us 0.00. Ta-da! So this is how I approached homework 0. There's probably like a way easier way to go about doing this, but this is how I approached the problem, and yeah, so it should be working fine. And I closed my files, right? Yeah. Okay. Always remember to close your files. I'm saying that more to me than you guys, but okay. I hope this helped. Don't forget to always include your argument manager and test. Always test. Make sure you're storing your information right. Alright, thanks guys. Have a great night, day, whenever you're watching this. Okay, bye.